Dude, that game sucked. Yeah. Do you want to talk about basically everything except that Leafs game? Thought you'd never ask.
You ready? Big news. What? Whoosh. Seriously?
No pigs yet.
What? What was he doing? Wow. Bring him on. Beautiful.
Leafs lose 4-1 to the New York Islanders, blah blah. And the reason I'm not talking about the game isn't because the Leafs lost, because if I did that all the time I just wouldn't say anything. But the Islanders looked exhausted, and the Leafs looked even more exhausted. Daylight savings. And even when these guys are fully charged, they're still two of the worst teams in the NHL. It was 60 minutes of the Leafs making a mistake, and the Islanders not having enough gas and or talent to capitalize. And vice versa. The Islanders did a better job than the Leafs, winning the game 4-1 and snapping the Leafs' 3-game win streak. So let's talk about something else Leafs, and then we're going to move on to the rest of the NHL because there's a lot of news this week. For the Leafs, let's talk about the month of March. Now, Leafs fans joke, and I've joked in a few of my videos, that the Leafs always seem to do really well in March for some reason. Well, I looked at the Leafs game logs from the last 5 years to see if that was actually true. Well, I checked, and it actually is. In fact, when you combine the Leafs record from the past 5 Marches, including this one, they're a combined 33, 23, and 6. So I got to thinking, what if the Leafs played at the pace that they do in March all season long? Well, I pulled out the old calculator, did a little bit of math, and put all my findings into a blog, which you can find right here in the sidebar. Without giving away too much, if and when the Leafs miss the playoffs this season, it will be the 5th straight year that they've done that. However, if they played at their March pace for each of the last 5 seasons, I can't do it. Just read it. Leafs fans, don't read it in public because you might cry. And to everyone else, I hope you rotten buggers enjoy this. Now let's talk about a couple big NHL news items this week, namely Alexander Ovechkin's hit on Brian Campbell, which, if you've seen it, wasn't actually a hit, it was more of a shove, which has been one of the primary defenses of Ovechkin in this case. But let me ask you this, if I body check you off a cliff, is it any different from me shoving you off? No, in both scenarios you would Wile E. Coyote all over the ground. But as a result of this incident, there's reports suggesting that Brian Campbell could miss the rest of the season. Now, if you haven't seen the incident, please go check it out, and if you have, what do you guys think? Is Ovechkin getting suspended for this? Because he was assessed a 5-minute penalty and a game misconduct. As you guys know, Ovechkin has avoided suspension from a few other incidents over the last few years. So I think this one's got to be at least looked at. However, in terms of intent, you look at Matt Cook's hit on Savard and you look at this one and say, well, if this guy didn't get suspended for that hit, and I got to hear what you guys think because I'm really torn. I think you got to give him at least something, but if you look at some of the things players have gotten away with recently, there's no way you suspend Ovechkin. Which brings me to another dirty play that slipped under the radar. Did you guys see Steve Downie's antics against the Penguins on Sunday? Well, he's fighting for possession along the boards with Sidney Crosby, and they both start to go down. Downey grabs Crosby in a way that bends his knee awkwardly as they head to the ice. And to me, it was a clear attempt to injure. But Crosby seemed to be okay, and that's why no one's talking about it. Bet you if he was out for the season, people would cry bloody murder. And all I can really say about that is I'm just disappointed in Steve Downie. We all remember his craziness from the first couple years of his career, from Dean McCammon to Jason Blake to slashing a ref in the leg. But the first rounder looks like he's finally starting to come around. It looks like he's going to get at least 20 goals this year. And then he goes and tries to take a guy's knee out. If you haven't seen the play, check it out. If you have, tell me what you think. Because I don't think anything's going to happen to him. And when you look at the way things have been called lately, I don't think he should be suspended. But you look at the play, and from my perspective, it's a clear attempt to injure. So that's all from me for this video. There's a lot to discuss. Let me know what you think. And also check out my Leafs blog over here. It's depressing, but in an informative way. Later.